and they're kind of ground zero for this, and that's the deal. We got to really support these guys, and the bottom line is, if it happens there, it can happen here. And the one question I would put forth is this: can you show me one low-density community that's been developed or overdeveloped that has an improved quality of life? That's the question that I ask. Show me where this type of development has brought better quality of life to the community. That's the question you got to ask. Andrew, it's all yours. Thank you.
I wasn't really prepared tonight. But at the other meeting at the church, I talked about the history of this and how Vaca got the city council and the mayor to give us the lower density. So now that we have the lower density, after that we got more parking. Parking was added. Now, in the low density, the R3A, you have 150% parking. If this zoning should change, as the zoning numbers get higher, they take parking away from you. In the R5 and R6, you have to have 50% parking. And if you're too close to transportation, they can waive off the parking and you get a building with no parking. Now, the projection that they're showing us, they're showing something like 20 parking spaces for the supermarket and 18 parking spaces for a 5-story building. It doesn't make sense. The city and the way they appropriate parking in the higher zones is antiquated, it's backwards, it doesn't follow our times. Everybody has a car. They tried to tell us at meetings that if you're in the transportation zone and you're near a bus, the people in this building won't have cars. No. The people in this building may take a train to go to work, but during the day, they still have a car. It's got to be parked somewhere. And if they don't provide it in the larger zones, it's going to be in your driveway and somebody else's driveway. And it's going to be in front of a hydrant. It's completely backwards. What we're fighting for is we don't even want to talk about this. We want the zoning that we have to stay the way it is. If the builder wants to build, let them build within that zoning. Again, that means 1 or 2 family detached houses. And those houses have to have 3 off-street parking spaces. If you go any larger than that, you lose your neighborhood, you lose your parking. And right now, if you try to drive on Bruckner or Crosby or Tremont, any time of the day, you're in traffic. You're stuck, you're at lights, you're waiting for another light, you can't get through. When the school picks up and drops off their kids, Crosby Avenue is double parked on both sides of the street. The fire trucks can't get through. When they have to move, they end up going to Tremont or going around because they can't get through. People won't even move the cars for a fire truck. So we have to all stick together. And when you call your councilwoman, like everyone has been saying, we want to stick within the zoning. We're very happy the way the zoning is. Build within the present zoning codes that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. So it's very important to know that there is something that is, by definition, I guess they call it a transit corridor, transit zone. Now, the transit corridor, transit zone is important for this aspect. Depending on the type of housing and the distance from a subway, for example, 1/4 of a mile from a subway, with true affordable housing or senior housing, the developer has to put in 0 parking. 0. Now, the distance and scope of the housing of the AMI, if it's MIH, that's a different story. I mean, but the parking that is mandated for the developer is very, very limited. And the transit corridor is going to be redefined, there's no doubt about it, or there's going to be subtext to it, because now they're going to include not only the subway, it's going to be multiple bus lines, which we heard at the city planning hearing. They said this community is well served by 2 buses. So that's how it works. You know, they do it to fit the narrative. And also, let's not forget the micro transportation. There's nothing like taking your kid to daycare on a scooter and then jumping on the bus. So that's how it works. I mean, that's how it's going to be going. Now, I'd like to bring up somebody, and don't boo him. He's a realtor. Don't boo him. He's a good guy. Greg from Keller Williams. Come on up, Greg. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, everyone. As a realtor, I see a lot of things out there, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a different perspective. But I'm going to start with an article that was written in Forbes that said by 2030, owners really won't have rights in America, which is kind of
Can't hear you.
There was an article in Forbes some time ago that said by the year 2030, their prediction was that here in America, land ownership rights will be basically eliminated through excessive taxation and over-regulation. All right, now, if you look at the laws they're trying to pass, it's something everyone should hear about. It's called real estate tax equality. You could Google it yourself. But it looks like they discovered that 1 in 2 family homeowners don't pay their fair share of taxes here in New York City.
Like hell we don't.
No, this is serious. All right, you could do all the Googling yourselves. They want to basically make it fair market value like it is in Westchester. But you know what? We're the services for the Westchester services that we have here. You know, that's a very big that's a very big issue. You know, so that's one thing that everyone should research. Look it up on the website. There's a lot of things going on in terms of our taxation and who they think is not paying their fair share. And guess what? It's you. In terms of regulation, people that understand that if you own a building at 6 and up, you have rent stabilization laws. The government tells you what your rent is. Even I think it's had the lease, even though I'm not a lawyer. Some of the language says that they can even go back in time and be retroactive. You got too much rent, therefore you've got to give it back. All right, these are things that I read in the contract. I'm not a lawyer, so you can check it out yourself. I'm sure there's some lawyers out there who know more about the contracts than me. But 6 and up, your rents are controlled if you have a building, unless it's super high end. You know, you're wealthy. It doesn't apply to you really. You know, you're paying $5,000, $10,000 a month in Manhattan. You could be as far left as you want. It really won't affect you. If you go to 5 and under, now they have something called income discrimination. Has anyone ever heard of that before? Okay, that basically means that, you know, if someone comes to you, and there are some stipulations based on the size of the house and the square footage, and if a realtor is involved, but basically, if they say that, you know, someone comes to you and they say they will have a voucher, I have a Section 8, I have a City FEPS, I have a FEPS, I have a SODA, I have a HASA, and there's a whole litany of things that we as realtors have to learn and have to be very careful about because we can't discriminate. What is the type of discrimination? Basically saying to someone that if you come to me and you say, I want to rent your apartment, and I say, I'm sorry, I don't want to deal with the government, then you basically can get sued and you can get into trouble, and as a realtor can lose my license. So, you know, we have to abide by the law. The law is the law. But what happens when you take a voucher? Now the government is in control of your rent because the renters pay a certain amount. So 6 and up is rent control. 5 and under, if you have a voucher, to this point, you know, it is illegal to take more than what the voucher is. Even the caseworker will tell you, just pay the difference. No, you can't pay the difference because when the judge finds out that you're taking advantage of putting in a voucher, then they give you triple damages or some crazy penalties on top of that. So now they want to pass another law called good cause eviction, which basically means tenancy for life. So now it's the burden on the landlord in order to basically say that I have a good reason to evict the tenant. You know, so now it's like the noose is around land ownership's next, because if they pass good cause eviction, then basically, you know, it's, I don't know what your rights are as a landlord. All right, so these are laws that we need to really think about. And you know, when we go to the voting booth, there's two words I heard here tonight. One was deference. You know, there was some call I went on. They were talking about deference. and they want to get rid of it. So if the councilman who represents the area that's voted by the people wants to do something, right, I believe now there's this term called deference where you can say, back off, this is my neighborhood, my people put me in power, I want this. They want to get rid of that, which basically is, once you have majority, now you have mob rule. So they want mob rule. What does that mean? It means that you throw enough money around, you get what you want, now you're in control of the mob. I'll tell you what to do in your own neighborhood. You're a council person, you're some person, whoever it is. These are things that I hear on these calls, and I'm like, in the olden days I heard someone at the division saying that this is my neighborhood, I'll do as my people please, or this is what needs to get done. Alright, and another thing that I want to make clear, because I can talk forever, I don't want to bore you guys, alright, but basically this is a fun, this whole movement was started by this ideology that if you own a one-family house, this is the rhetoric that you are a resource hoarder. They're saying that you who have a one-family house are a resource hoarder. I'll be quick. Basically this is something that came out of, Soviet era with talks, because who are the kulaks? The kulaks are the ones that had the tight fist. We had to teach them how to open up our hands and share. So think about that. Alright? So there's an organization called Yivli, yes? It's not about billionaires. Alright? And they're coming up with these ideas telling you that you're a resource hoarder. So you really need to think about these things when you're doing this. So that's my 2 pieces. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Now, there's something that he mentioned about deference. One thing you got to remember, a city council person gets deference for one reason. They are not a citywide office. Okay? So they do not have to, according to campaign finance, they do not have to participate in mandatory debates, but yet they still get the 8-to-1 matching funds from your tax dollars. So whether you directly fund somebody, you indirectly fund somebody, no matter where they are in the city council. So in essence, a $10 donation actually becomes $90 because of your tax dollars. So that's the bottom line. So city council deference must stay because they can't have their cake and eat it too. You're not a citywide office, you're an area office, a district office. And your district knows what they want and you have to vote your district. That's how it works. Plain and simple. Now, we're going to be wrapping up quickly, but quickly I just wanted to bring up somebody that really loves the community. I mean, the guy is great. I mean, the John and John team have been cleaning our community forever and ever. I mean, they're like iconic, they're legends. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's my pleasure to bring up John Morano. Thank you, John.
Thank you, George. Listen, I'm going to be very short. But for the people that know Jimmy Backer, he's our friend, right? He worked very hard in the past for us. Reach out to Jimmy Backer and also tell him that you don't want this to happen, all right? He works very closely with Marjorie Velasquez, our council person, all right? And she needs to understand how hard we worked in the past. And I wanted to thank all the members here that have been speaking throughout the day and other times. They're working very hard for our community. So please support them, all right? And like I said at the church, stop shopping at food towns. Stop shopping there, all right? And if you know your neighbor, volunteer to buy for them at Key Food or Fine Fair or whatever other location. There's a lot of stores out there that need our support, small stores, to go there. Alright? This gentleman makes a lot of money off us throughout the years. He should be closing this down as we speak, his idea. Alright? So stop shopping there. Alright? And tell the people, your neighbors that are shopping there, to stop there. And if they need help them shop. But don't let them go there. Alright? Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, John. We're going to be closing it out in a couple of minutes. You guys are like hardier than Jet fans. It's amazing. I mean, the display and the resolve and the resiliency you're showing tonight. We'll say less than stellar weather conditions, right? And I thank Newswell for taking this. Also, my good friend over here, that she is Annie Mola. She's great. Now, I'm going to give it to my good friend again, my
just want to make one last statement. Thank you to everyone who has actually made a donation. You know, we have to be able to fight the developers. We can't do it without hiring an attorney that can help us fight this on the legal field. The developers have their own legal team. They can, in a blink of an eye, call their attorney and start filing paperwork. We don't have that. We're all volunteers. So, you know, I feel horrible asking everybody to go into your pockets and donate what you can. But thank God for so many of our community members. We were able to raise $31,000 so far. Thank God. But we can say that sounds like a lot of money, but after interviewing attorneys said, well, this is going to be over $100,000 job to fight this for you. And this is not going to be the only challenge that we face in our community. We know that even if we're fortunate enough to beat this development, there's going to be another one popping up soon after. So we need to continue to fund, and we need to continue to be able to fight this. Yes, so if you go, I have lots of these today with me. So if you guys want to take one, put it in your window. The website, stopupzoning.com. You can go to that website. There's two things that you can do on this website. The first is, of course, click on the donation page. You're going to go to a GoFundMe page. You can make a donation. At the very end of the donation, it's going to ask you if you want to make a tip. You do not have to do the tip. That money goes directly to GoFundMe. The original donation will come to us. We are a 501c, so we'll be tax deductible on your tax returns. If you didn't know, the IRS changed the rules a couple of years ago that you can deduct $300 for a single person, $600 for a married couple, even without itemizing on your tax returns. So it's good for you to be able to make those donations. The second thing you can do on this website is you can sign a petition, which will go to all 51 council members. It will also go to the city planning. It goes to the mayor's office. It goes to Biaggi's office. Goes to Assemblyman Benedetto's office. Simultaneously, you put your name, you put your email, you put your address, and in a blink of an eye, it goes to everybody. So sign the petition if you haven't signed it. If you've signed it, tell your neighbors to sign it. And if you have children in your house, anybody who lives with you, everybody should be signing this. Let's blast this to City Hall and tell them that this community does not want this. The more they get the petitions, the more they'll realize that we're serious about this. So please continue to spread the word. Before you leave, take a poster, take one for your neighbor, and let's get this word spread out. God bless everybody. Thank you for coming out and going.